Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. So yeah, I want to talk more about this. Obviously, Carol leaving the Daryl spinoff now, I guess is what we're going to be referring to, right? Because yeah, it's a really big deal to actually have Carol leave this show. So I do want to talk about that, but a lot of my reactions to it, I did a video on. You may have already saw it, but if you didn't, it's already on the channel. It's the video before this one. What I really want to focus on here is the story idea here, right? Because up until now, we've had no idea what the Daryl spinoff was going to be focused on. We originally thought it was them going to New Mexico, right? Because they've talked about that. I think in season 10, they kind of said I don't know exactly how the conversation went, but I think maybe Carol or Daryl, one of them said oh, maybe New Mexico, maybe we'll go there. And it just kind of seemed like something that oh, maybe in the end, when the show ends, they'll actually go to New Mexico, right? But obviously, with the news that Melissa McBride is now, leaving the Daryl and Carol spinoff, or now Daryl spinoff, that's not going to happen now. And we did learn some really interesting information here in that article from Variety. It seems like, or not even seems like, it's been confirmed now that they will be filming in Europe this summer, with the show coming out next year. So a lot to break down. Why, what is Daryl doing in Europe? Well, there's a lot there, trust me, and a lot of it's Rick related. So before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want more Walking Dead content like this. I mean, all of this news is going to keep us talking for the next week for sure. Definitely, there's a lot to talk about with this. I mean, I will say it's really crazy to think that Carol is just kind of gone. When are we going to see her again, right? And that's definitely a video that I'll do probably tomorrow. I think I won't do it today because I've already talked about quite a bit of stuff here, but yeah, I mean, it is an interesting question. When are we going to see Carol again? Is Carol just kind of done for a while? And you get into some interesting conversation with that, because it could get to a point, if it's been a while, where maybe Melissa McBride doesn't want to come back. And it is kind of interesting because a lot of fans, a lot of Carol fans, I've been seeing anyway, saying that, now I'm just done. Now I'm actually just kind of done with The Walking Dead in general. As soon as she's gone and the last episode's over, I'm done. But on the other side, I've been seeing a lot of comments of people saying, okay, good, now I can actually watch the Daryl spinoff, because I've never really liked Carol, and the idea of doing a Daryl and Carol spinoff just kind of bugged me. So having it just focus just solely on Daryl actually seems kind of exciting. And while I do agree with that, I'm not necessarily a Carol hater, because I love Carol. Carol's a really great character. I'm definitely sad that she's not going to be a part of The Walking Dead anymore, or at least for a while. So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to see everybody's reactions to all of this here. It seems like, if anything, it's more of a, maybe, I don't know, it kind of goes both ways. Some people are really sad about it, some people are really happy about it, but yeah, it is what it is. Obviously, the big news, the shocking thing of this press release, I mean, first of all, Melissa McBride leaving, that's big. The second thing, though, was Daryl going to Europe, the fact that they're actually filming in Europe here. And I don't know the reason for it, but I will say I actually do agree with it. It needed something. I know people can say, well, it's just a gimmick. It's no, you kind of need something different. You need to do something different with these spinoffs. It can't just be them in just any state, basically, in the United States, just doing whatever stuff. You need a change of scenery. You do need some kind of change of scenery. With Isle of the Dead, they're actually going to New York. They're going to be seeing the Statue of Liberty, Empire State Building, and all of that. That's going to look so different. They're going to be in a city environment. It's going to look so different. It's going to be really nuts to actually see that. Just the visuals of that are going to be really incredible. And I really do think with the Daryl spinoff, they're probably we need to actually come up with something that's going to be really exciting here. Visually, there needs to be something different. And I think the idea of going to Europe just made a lot more sense, because now you're branching out The Walking Dead to another place, right? And obviously, we saw in The Walking Dead World Beyond that there's running zombies in France, right? And so that kind of, to me, basically confirms that running zombies are going to be a thing. Running zombies will be a thing in the Daryl show for sure. I don't know about the Maggie and Negan spinoff. I'm assuming so still, but definitely for the Daryl one, there's going to be running zombies. And there's just something about watching Daryl, just try to survive in Europe, and then there's running zombies everywhere. There's just something about that that's just really exciting. I really can't wait to watch that. But why is Daryl going to Europe? Like, is he actually going, or are they just filming there? I mean, to me, it's like, if they're actually filming in Europe, they're using those locations. It makes no sense. Like, you're making it more expensive or nothing. Like, if you're going to film in Europe, like, you're going to use those locations, right? Otherwise, just film it in Georgia again. Like, film where it's cheaper, film where you're going to be able to get more money in return, or whatever, however that works, you know, in the business. The fact that they're actually filming in Europe just says that, or just tells me that, yeah, it's because they want to utilize those newer locations and give it a more refreshing feel, which obviously has a lot of us very excited, because I think that's very much needed after 10 or 11, 12 years or whatever of them running in the woods, right? So I'm really excited for this, you know, and I guess the question that I have is, why does he go to Europe? Does he go willingly? You know, because I think, first of all, I think all of this confirms that they are going to find out that Rick Grimes is alive. They're going to find that out in part 3. It just makes no sense for all of them to be where they're at. You know, they're going to New York, and then they're going to now Europe, right? And it just makes no sense for them to be separated like that. And maybe you could make the argument, well, no, they're just changing the scenery, but the story is going to be so unrelated to Rick. Like, we know we're getting the Rick movie eventually, right? Like, they're building towards that, right? And I think after we get the first one, depending on where the spinoffs are and what their plans are, they'll start to work on the second and whatnot, right? Because they obviously want to keep this going for a while. Like, it's just very clear to me that they are going to find out that Rick's alive here in part 3. And I think they're going to find out some clues here about the Civic Republic. And, you know, the fact that it's probably set in Europe, you know, they have bases there anyways, and there might be some connection there with the Commonwealth and the formation of running zombies, this and that. There might be some clues that Rick could be there, or that Rick is in New York, right? And so I think they're all just kind of like, well, we got to go look for him. And then I think the idea of him being in Europe, you know, who's going to go to Europe? I think Daryl's like, I'll just go. Like, I'll go. You know, Maggie's not going to go because that's really far. That's, you know, it's one thing going a few states over, or I don't know the difference between New York and like Virginia, but like, or is Virginia even a state? I really don't know a lot about the US, but it's one thing just kind of going from Virginia, Alexandria and all of that to New York City, right? Going from Alexandria and that to Europe, just totally different. I could see Daryl being like, yeah, I'll go. But the thing is, it's like, how is he going to go? Is he going to jump on a ship or a plane and just like kind of sneak there? You know, like, to me, it kind of seems like maybe he's caught and then he's taken there. And maybe he's taken through the same process as Rick. And that's what we're seeing in the Daryl spinoff, right? And then once he's there, it's just kind of what happens then. Obviously he'll probably break out or something like that, but then it's going to be a lot of like trying to find Rick, and then just a lot of that is very up for debate, because we have no idea what's actually going to happen once we get to that point, because that is so, I mean, it's far away, but it's technically only a year away until we're actually talking about this. We have to get through part 3 first, right? Like, we actually got to get through part 3 and see where the story's at, but this is all super exciting. I really can't wait. The fact that he's going to Europe, I mean, there's going to be running zombies, because I don't think it's just a France only thing. I think it's all over Europe at this point, especially 10 years into the apocalypse, right? Like, it's going to be the dominant walker. So I view it as, this is going to be really exciting. This is upping the stakes in general, you know, in terms of trying to survive. And it makes the Walking Dead story very, very amazing again. And I'm not saying it's not amazing right now, because I'm really enjoying the Commonwealth arc. It's actually really great right now. But in terms of trying to survive, that survival aspect to it, it's a refresher. It definitely adds a lot. And I think going to New York, going to Europe, the running zombies, all of that is a big refresher to everything that I think all of us fans are really going to appreciate. And I think it's going to be something that everyone's going to be talking about for a while. Honestly, I could see their ratings starting to go up because of this. Like, it's just something that, it's different. It's just very different in general, right? And for people who haven't been watching for a long time, who just kind of jump into the Daryl spinoff or the Maggie and Negan spinoff, you know, if they're learning like, oh, they're searching for Rick, and they're like, what the hell? Like, well, what happened to Rick? Because maybe they haven't been following along for a while, right? And so that is just really intriguing, because Rick is somewhere out there and they're wondering, well, where is he? And then just kind of learning about the CRM, and, you know, they're not going to have the like World Beyond, right? And that's the one thing about the CRM that I'll say is like the like, World Beyond kind of tainted them a little bit. Like, whenever I think of CRM, I think of the way it was portrayed at like in World Beyond, which makes it not that exciting. but I just got to remember what they actually kind of are, and remember, you know, Rick's final episode and what the tone will be and whatnot once we actually watch them on The Walking Dead or a spinoff, right? And I think that's one thing that is actually, you know, that's definitely a question I have, and I guess we'll know a lot more about it next year. But I really wonder how long the Daryl spinoff is going to go on for, and also the, you know, Isle of the Dead. How long are those spinoffs going to go on for? And like, when is this Rick movie coming out? Because the question I have is like, what if the Rick movie is still like 3 or 4 years away and they're going to be doing these spinoffs for the time being, right? That's a possibility. They could actually do that. Or maybe like they mean for these spinoffs to be sort of a limited series thing, 1 or 2 seasons. And maybe, or maybe even more than that. Maybe it's 4 or 5 seasons. But the first movie is not going to have them involved in any way anyways, right? So they'll just do the first movie, Rick movie, next year or the year after. And that's just going to be more focused on Rick and what's going on over there, his life. But once you get to the second or the third movie, that's where you start to introduce Daryl, like in the Rick movie and whatnot, right? And you start to actually reintroduce like Michonne, and, you know, maybe we'll see Carol again and whatnot. So I wonder if that's their overall plan. We're sort of in a place right now where a lot of that is all unknown. And what we know for sure is we're getting these spinoffs. Tales of the Walking Dead is going to be exciting. I think they're doing a season 2 already. And the Rick movie is just the big one. Like, we need to get an update on that. And I really hope we do at Comic-Con. You know, Comic-Con is less than 3 months away now, I think. So, or about 3 months away. So I hope we get an update then. I think we deserve that. I think us fans deserve an update on that. Like, we need something regarding the Rick movie. And that's the thing. Just because we don't know anything right now doesn't mean that it's not happening. We had no idea that the now Daryl spinoff was going to be filming this summer. I assumed it was happening like early next year. People thought it wasn't happening at all because we didn't hear anything about it, right? And then out of nowhere today, we learned that they're filming in Europe and they're filming this summer, which is something that would have been planned for a while now. So I look at all of it and I'm like, yeah, you know what? They know what's going on with the Rick movie, and I can't wait to find out. And I hope we find out something soon, because it's going to be 4 years this November, which is a long ass time. So anyways, I'm going to leave it here. Post all your thoughts down below and your predictions for the Daryl spinoff. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.